Good morning, traders. Gates W. Adams here, and I am your host. And today we have another exciting episode of the Trader Bacon Show. Our guest today, Kevin. Kevin is just a great story that I'm really excited to share with you guys. Probably one of my favorite storylines out there. They make tons and tons of movies following the same storyline, which is turning adversity into an asset. Are they going to make a movie out of Kevin? I don't know, but if so, hopefully I get some piece of the rights. But I'm going to talk about how he went from pill pusher to profitable trader on today's Trader Bacon Show.
Welcome to the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon. Are you ready? Because the Trader Bacon Show starts right now.
Hey, Kevin, I think I'm not sure if I said pill pusher or pill popper. I was making a little joke there, and I think maybe we need to clarify.
I was going to say, either way, I think I got to clarify what you meant by that.
For sure, and that was absolutely the intent, and I'm just having a little bit of fun with it today. But, well, welcome to the show today, Kevin, and we will get into that. So, first of all, thanks for spending some time with us today.
I know that you're having me.
Yeah, I mean, you and I got a chance to talk about your history and moving into trading, and we'll get into a lot of that as we go through the day today. But it's just so exciting to see when people have people get into trading for all sorts of different reasons. A lot of times, you know, we're just looking at kind of getting that side income. Sometimes we have major life changes. Sometimes we have kids and we decide that we need more money, whatever the case may be. Sometimes we're just looking for that straight up freedom. But let's talk about your history and kind of how you got into the world of trading. If you don't mind sharing some of that with us, and we can explain the pill pusher, not pill popper statement that I made as we jumped into that.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, absolutely. So just to clarify what Gates meant by that, so I used to be a pharmacy technician, and I would, you know, obviously count the medications. I would sell the medications, I would work with insurance, and it was just mainly basically pharmacy technician. Did a little bit of management as well. It was at a CVS. And what really got me into trading was an unfortunate situation where I got very sick. And it's a whole big long thing. I know I was telling you about it before. You know, my colon stopped. It was a huge situation. And it was all during sort of the beginning of COVID. So not many doctors were taking new patients. So it was just a very long and difficult battle. But what really helped me was I got into trading at that point because I was always a hard worker. I was always determined. I was always there for my family, helping my family. So now that I was stuck at home, unable to work, instead of, you know, just being home, play some video games, this and this, pass the time, I hit the books. Trading, I just loved it. When I found it, I was like, wow, this is really something that could have endless opportunities. All about compounding. There's no limits to this. Could really make something of myself with this. Could really help others too. Now, at that point, I wasn't so much thinking of helping others, teaching others. I was just trying to get myself in the door, try to understand trading, try to get into it. And the rest is history. That was sort of where it all began.
Well, that's awesome. And I think it's just such a testament to just your character and your frame of mind, because a lot of times when people are in a tough situation and they have nothing but time, so to speak, you know, you made the comment, instead of sitting around playing video games all day, or Netflix and chilling for, 18 hours a day or whatever it was, you decided to take this and move into something that was completely new, completely foreign to you, and obviously have had an opportunity to turn it into something pretty special. So I love that story. I love when people are just, look, we all hit rough patches. We all hit challenges and things that we either can control and didn't, or just can't control. And we got to do something with that. So congrats on that. So how did trading actually hit your radar in the first place?
So being home, and I went from working 40, 50 hours a week to being home all day, every day. So I was trying to find different types of ways to make money from home. Obviously, at the time, there was a lot of talk of drop shipping and real estate market, and the stock market too was really big back then. When COVID started, there was the COVID crash, rallies and everything. So It was advertised a lot. So I was seeing all these ads, people pushing their call out Discord communities and stuff. And none of that really caught my interest, but obviously their whole thing of pushing, 1,000% return, 2,000%, 100% return, that definitely caught my eye and said, okay, you know what, maybe I can make this work. There's a reason the stock market has been around for hundreds of years. There's got to be something I could do with this.
Right. Now, how did that actually play out for you? How did you actually get into the markets in the initial stages before you got to where you are now as a funded trader?
So it did take, obviously everybody's journey is different, but it took a while. I'd hit the books 8 to 9 hours a day and just book after book, education after education. And I almost used to my advantage the fact that I was sick and home to my advantage, because now I had all these hours on my plate that it sucked because I wasn't able to get better because I needed the right surgeries and stuff. But instead of moping around, instead of, like we mentioned, playing video games, hit the books, started running with it, learned futures, learned options. I first got into options before futures. I wish I could go back and tell myself to get into futures first. But you know what? Got to take it as it is. It was a great journey. I'm doing fantastic now, and I wouldn't change a thing, you know?
Look, there's a lot to learn from all the different markets, and there's something that you can take from here and utilize over there. So, I mean, I don't think there's any sort of a wasted portion of the journey if you take it for what it can be. So now let's talk a little bit about your trading day. How does your trading day typically start? What's your routine before you jump into the charts?
For sure. So my routine, I like to keep a very set routine. I believe routine is the baseline to consistency when it comes to trading. So I wake up, I make sure the first thing I do is make my bed. As little as that sounds, as unrelated to trading as it sounds, it's part of a routine, it's part of mentality, and our mentality means a lot when it comes to trading. Wake up, make my bed, turn my computer on, go turn on the Keurig machine, and need that coffee.
That's
But
right.
then I'll hit the charts, and I'll look for I trade ES and NQ, and I use the VIX as well to help for confirmations, for key levels on the VIX, for trends on the VIX, and I'll come up with 3 to 4 trading plans per ES and for NQ as well. And what I do with these plans is I'll create my plans based off of supply and demand areas, and I'll look to trade off of those zones. So I'll maybe look for a bounce off of a 6-hour demand zone, but if we failed this zone, I'll look to short the failed rally or something like that, or look for a supply zone rejection. Let's see how we trade along VWAP, all these types of different scenarios. And I like to take market context into that as well. Have we been creating lower highs? Have we been creating lower lows? What is the trend telling us? Because the trend is our friend.
Right. That's awesome. Now, I want to take a quick second to address some of the stuff in the chat here. First and foremost, as you guys know, if you've been watching, we are giving away several evaluations for Apex Trader Funding. And make sure you jump in on that form. Get your information on there. We are giving 3 away. We'll announce those at the end of the show. So don't miss out on that opportunity. There is nothing more advantageous than a free evaluation to move you forward, in my humble opinion. But aside from that, BZB, congratulations, man. It looks like you are almost passed on your 50K, I'm assuming is what you mean on that. That is absolutely awesome. And let's see here. Bisu asks, how long did it take for you to become profitable?
So it's a great question. Obviously, everybody having their own journeys will always have different answers. It took me, I'd say, I didn't start trading. So when I started learning about trading, I didn't start taking actual trades for about 5 months. Now, the reason wasn't really because, I was scared to. The reason was because I knew I had all this time. I want to really hit the books. I want to know what I'm doing, or at least know the basics before I just jump on in and risk some of my money, right? Because at the time, wasn't trading Apex. So again, I wanted to sort of be aware of what's going on before putting much risk at hand. But how long did it take? That was 20. I'd say about a year and a half. Close. I don't want to say 2 because it was definitely under 2. But it took some time, and you just got to be consistent with it. You got to show up every day. You got to gain the experience of the market, because you could learn as much as you want, but it's really that experience that is going to solidify your consistency.
Well, and I think this plays in great to this next question from Steve, which is we all know trading is 80% psychology. How do you deal with that on a day-to-day basis?
Absolutely. So what really helps me with my psychology basics is, like I mentioned before with I wake up, I make the bed, boom, instantly I'm right in the same mindset as I was the previous morning. Second thing I do when I come up to the charts and I make my pre-market plan, that pre-market plan, me going over the charts, me doing a top-down analysis. I start off with the daily time frame. Have we been selling strong on the daily? Have we been are we in an area of interest where there could be some buying pressure to hold us up if we've been selling, and so on. So using that type of psychology, creating trade plans before the market opens really helps, because then I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for us to reject this area. I'm looking for us to hold this area. And because I'm already knowing what I'm looking for, every candle that forms isn't going to make me think something else. I'm just going to be patient till we get to that area and we get some type of reaction.
Well, and Steve, to your question, to me, yes, I 100% still deal with trading psychology, probably more than most. And there's a reason I'm on this side of the chair and not the other. So let me just say that to be very clear. But absolutely. And I think one comment that you made there, Kevin, is if I can kind of round this out, is your intention is to be proactive and not reactive. You're making sure you know what to expect when and where, instead of seeing something and triggering yourself to do something based on that versus based on your preparation. Is that pretty fair assessment?
A little bit, but there is a lot of reactiveness to it as well, because we don't move the market ourselves, so we can only react to what the market is giving us. So by creating 3 to 4 trade plans, that gives me the opportunity that if 1 and 2 don't work, there's still a chance that 3 and 4 will.
Right.
So it does all circle back.
Yeah, I think it's a difference between reacting to something you're seeing in the moment and reacting to something that you've already prepared for.
Correct. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Now, let's take a look, if we could. You've got some charts that you can show us and kind of show us more or less what you're looking for and what you're seeing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here I have my basic charts. Now, a lot of people will think, oh, well, you need 4 screens. You need all these monitors, all these screens. You need everything to be successful. I keep my setup as just 2 charts. I do have 4 monitors, so if I wanted to, I could take advantage of that. But mainly I have my main screen here with ES, NQ, and the VIX, and I have it set on Trading View so that if I want to change it to the 15-minute, it changes it on each chart. So I'm able to really switch, really be aware of these time frames and know what's going on. When I do my analysis, what I will do is I'll zoom into, say, ES. I'll go to the daily, take a look, see what's going on. I'll say, okay, well, it looks like the past few days we've been selling strong, even on this day right here. So I trade with a community called Bullish Bears, hence the Kevin of Bullish Bears. And what I told them is, guys, listen, we've had a lot of bearish price action. Every time sellers step in, we get a much stronger move than when buyers have stepped in. Let's look for a nice short position, a short trade here. And we've just been doing really well because of how strong these moves have been. Then I would go into something like the 4 hour. 4 hours is a very basic and good time frame to check. Look for some zones to create, some zones to trade off of. Go into the 2 hour, the 1 hour, and really just do an analysis like that. Then once the market opens and I have my trade plan set, bring everything back to the 5-minute. And one of the rules I follow, and guys, it's super important to have trading rules, and it's super important to have a trading journal, because when you have that journal, you're able to write down your emotions during the trade, why the trade worked, why it didn't work, and you're really able to see what consistently does or doesn't work, so you could adjust your trade plan and your trade setups. And one of the rules that I follow is I have to let the 5-minute close before I could try to play any type of reaction. Because if we're coming up to this supply zone here on ES, and this is a 15-minute, so it's not as strong as something else, and I wanted to short as soon as we got in, this trader would have just gone against me. But because I let the candles close and I saw this was a strong green candle, I'm not going to take that short. I'm going to be patient. That way, I don't take this loss and I can really wait. Now, a trade setup we did end up taking today was off of this candle right here. So we had a nice strong candle pushing us above a previous 1 hour demand zone that was previously broken. So I do like to use these levels as areas of interest or key levels. And once we got this candle with a smaller body and a long upper wick, I said, once this next candle decides to push us below the open, I'm going to take some short positions and put my stop at the highs, and I'm going to target around 14,820, 14,800. We didn't end up hitting 14,800, so I did scale out of the contracts. Plus, I had the meeting with you, so I did want to stop out. Didn't want to be in a trade, you know.
Well, I can tell you everybody on the stream, I believe, is going to be appreciative of that as you're giving us some gold. And if you guys are not catching it, make sure to watch the replay because this is some fantastic stuff.
I like
so. We have a question here from Body, and I know that this really comes down to personal preference and opinion, but you feel like trading with the DOM is better than the chart? Does it give you more visibility on the market, or do you feel like it's the opposite?
So that really depends on your trading style, in my opinion, and what your best experience has been with the market, right? So if you have better experience that you're reading the DOM, the depth of market, you're better at reading the volume and stuff. I'm going to show you guys my second screen that I like to watch is all equities because I want to know the trend.
So in fact, we have a second monitor going. Come on now.
Is that okay? I don't want to give too much away.
No, dude, 100%. Bring it down. These guys are waiting.
Awesome. So I have my equities up here. I have a watch list to the left that I like to see what's relatively strong, what's relatively weak. And I like to make sure that we are getting the same trend on equities. Usually Microsoft and Apple are two real key equities that I watch when I want to short NASDAQ because they're heavily weighted. But to bring it back to the depth of market, I do have my futures flexible grid on TOS with the time and sales, with the level 2. And I'd probably prefer the level 2 a bit more than the time and sales because with time and sales, there's a good chance that they're spoofing orders to make it look like there's heavy buying or heavy selling, while that's not really the case. And they could pull those orders before we get to that level.
Right.
So whereas the time in sales, all these orders that are hitting, these are actual orders that went through and have been processed. So I like to use the level 2, the time in sales really, to see if we're getting fast volume, if we're getting strong volume, or if we're sort of chopping around. And if we're chopping around and not getting that quick of a time in sales, I'm going to be patient, right? Because that's not the volume I like.
Awesome. Now, Steve asks, how are the VIX and the indices related? Like how to understand one another?
So the VIX sort of measures the options trading volume in the S&P 500, and it usually will go inverse of the direction we're getting. Really nice pump right now. Usually we'll get an inverse of the direction that we're getting, right? So what I like to do with the VIX is I like to look for strength and continuation. So this morning we had these nice strong bearish candles on the VIX, but we were sort of chopping our way up higher. It was sort of hard to get that continuation. So that sort of made me second guess if the VIX really wants to hold us. Then we started getting some pumps on the VIX, and that sort of helped me confirm on my downtrend move, my short trade. And so that's sort of how I use the VIX. I want to make sure it has strength while ES and NQ also have strength.
Got it. That's fantastic. Now, just to add to what you had said earlier, for those of you who are interested in seeing more from Kevin, because clearly this is just some phenomenal stuff here, you can see him actually on YouTube at Bullish Bears Trading. Make sure you check him out on that. That was awesome. And Steve is definitely going to be using the VIX now. I know I use the VIX in some of my trading as well. Actually, I use the VXN because I'm more of a NASDAQ guy, but I love the information that it gives because it really just adds that extra layer of confirmation, which just there's just absolute gold in that. So thank you for that. So where do we go from here, Kevin? I mean, you're clearly you're trading now. You mentioned now that you're doing some training. Are you're working with traders and helping them develop their skills?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with a company called Bullish Bears, and they've been established since 2017. So they've been around for a while. They're actually one of the first communities that I joined when I was a beginner. So it was sort of a big for me to go from somebody that was learning with them to now somebody that's teaching with them. Mm-hmm. So now I learned, I'm doing better, I'm consistent, and now every morning what I do is I'll create my trade plans as 3 to 4 trade plans for ES, 3 to 4 trade plans on NQ, and I'll post those in our Discord community. And you guys are always welcome to join at bullishbears.com, and you click the join button, and I'll just show you really quick. I'll do like MQ, I'll do a little analysis on it, what's going on with it. Then I'll make 3 to 4 trade plans. And then same with ES, I'll write a little analysis on it. And I do this every morning for the community so that people who are learning can also take some good trade setups as well. Because I feel like it's one thing to be able to learn when you're trading, but if you could also earn a little bit too, that's even more phenomenal. And one thing we do like to push and mention to our community is that if you're getting started, instead of putting your own money at risk, go with an Apex account. You know, Apex, you're able to buy the evaluation account, and then you could test some strategies on it. You could use their capital instead of yours. If you pass the evaluation with that strategy, keep doing it, and then get the funded account. So it's really a good place to start for beginners, so they're not putting their capital at risk.
Now, we talk about Apex a lot. Obviously, they're a sponsor of the show, as you can see their logo up here on the top right. But tell me, for you, how did you see a difference between sim, valuation or funded account, and live money? What does that difference look like for you?
Yeah, so I mean, it made a huge difference when I was first getting started, and I went from using my own money to trading some type of evaluation account. It's a huge difference because it's not paper trading to the point where you're just getting in crazy heavy and hoping it hits, but it still gives you the opportunity to prove your consistency and then get that funded account while still risking such a small portion of your own money. So if you're able to push that consistency and stay consistent with them, not only are you going to be able to make real money with them, get payouts and stuff, but you're also then able to confirm your trading strategy. And over time, you're able to then, if you wanted to, switch over to a real live account, instead of sticking with them. But me personally, I'm a big fan of Apex, so I do use a real regular funded account, but I also use a funded account with Apex as well. Because I do mention it to my community often, I wouldn't mention to them or suggest something for them to do without me personally doing it as well.
Right. And that's just again a question of character there and integrity. So that's awesome. And again, with the opportunity to get up to 20 accounts, up to $300,000 per account, that's like $6 million worth of account value.
Yeah.
Did I do my math right? Yeah,
I think you did.
Right. So of course that just creates such a phenomenal opportunity, and you get to actually have some experience with some skin in the game, but not devastating skin.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you, as a trainer, because I know that in my life I've kind of made this shift in different arenas as well. What happened to your results when you actually became a trainer? What happened to your personal results?
That's a fantastic question. So what I noticed with myself, now I was consistent before I started educating because I didn't want to just start educating without seeing that consistency myself. It wouldn't feel right. But when I got that consistency down pat and I started educating, I noticed myself staying out of a lot more losers, and I got even better with my trades, better recognizing better setups. And it really helps because it doesn't really give you pressure like, oh my goodness, I have to make this a winner. But it gives you the thought that, okay, you know what? People are going to be watching. I'm creating these trade setups and these trade plans not only for myself, but for this large community. I really want to only give them the best of the best.
Sure. That's phenomenal. And I think that that's pretty consistent in anything. The second that you start teaching people, first of all, you got to know what you're teaching well enough to teach it. But there is a level of responsibility that you take on.
Absolutely.
And I know for me, and again, I'm not quite there in my journey yet, and I certainly wouldn't propose teaching anybody how to trade at this point. But I actually started trading live stream, just for the sake of accountability, because I know someone might be watching. I don't even look at the numbers. I never know who's watching, but I know that someone might be watching. And if I totally blow it, I'm doing it publicly. And I'm not going to say it's kept me completely from melting down. I've melted down on camera several times, but it certainly helps keep me in check and keep my mindset in the right place. And I think that goes to a much higher level when you move into actually teaching and training. So awesome stuff there.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Excuse me. I'm trying to keep that one in. So for you, what's next? I mean, what's next on the path for you in the world of trading? What are you looking to do down the road?
So, I mean, I love it's funny, when I got into trading, like I mentioned earlier, my first thought wasn't, let me get good at this so I could teach others. My thought was, let me get good at this so I could create some form of income. I can't work anymore because I physically just couldn't. A bunch of surgeries, a bunch of issues. I sort of downplayed the situation earlier because I don't want to wrap you guys up too much with the situation. But, we might get a movie going, Gates. You'll be in it.
I'm all in. I'm executive producer, Gates W. Adams.
But it was a really, really difficult journey at the beginning, not because of it was hard to learn trading, but because of where I was physically and medically. But where I see myself going forward, so I got a little sidetracked there. I would love to continue the education portion. I create YouTube videos every week, every other week, do weekly watch lists and all that. And I love live streaming. I live stream my trades to the community from market open till about 11:30. And again, guys, if you join the community bullishbears.com, you will have access to all these live trades. Take some trades with me, some winners, keep our losses short. Every day you get education through the live session. And but I mean, I would love to be one of those Wall Street names, I'm aiming for the top, shoot for the stars, land on the moon, but I'm shooting for the stars, going all the way.
Well, we'll keep at it. That's exciting and inspiring, and I'm so glad to have had the opportunity to have you on the show today. Guys, if you want to get more from Kevin, make sure to check out bullishbears.com or on YouTube at Bullish Bears Trading with an S, right? Bullish Bears Trading. So check them out as well. Last quick second to make sure that you get into that giveaway. If you have not filled out the form yet, fill that out. We'll be giving that out here in just a quick second. We have another great, exciting show for you coming next week. It is always such a privilege to spend some time with you guys on Monday morning. Been having awesome guests on here like Kevin. Kevin, thank you so much for your time today. And hopefully we have here on the quick some winners that we can share with you. Any last words for the new traders, Kevin, that are coming into the world of trading and the world of being a profitable funded trader?
I mean, listen, there's a few things, and I'll keep it quick for you, but risk management is super, super key. Keep your losses short. What's been helping me and a few of my members lately is if we're trading something like the NASDAQ or ES, start with micros, right? Have a starter position where you go in 2 or 3 contracts. That way, if it hits your stop loss, it's going to be a very small loss. And if it does go in your direction, you could add to it to really let your winners run. So we got to keep our winners way bigger than our losses. We want to be able to take one winner and then 2 or 3 losses, but still be green, because that's how we could really grow an account. The other thing I wanted to mention is don't have high expectations to be profitable in a month, 2 months. Sometimes even a year is asking a bit too much. It all depends. Everybody will have a different journey. It just matters how much dedication and desire you have to fulfill that journey and to hit your target, and the patience and consistency of just showing up every day, going over the market, back testing, and just doing what you can to get better as a trader, and know that it will take some time. If we're trying to learn something that could make us a lot of money, doctors go to school 8, 10, 12 years sometimes. It's 10 to 12 years just to be in debt when they come out. Now we're trying to learn something that'll make us a lot of money, because trading is all about compounding too. What you can do with 1 contract, you can do with 2, you can do with 5, you can do with 10. So take it slow at the beginning. Take some small trades, back test your strategy, and really just go for it and keep learning. Got to invest in our education.
Sage advice from a powerful trainer and trader. Thank you so much for that. Congratulations to Victoria K. I'm just going to go with Victoria K. Sorry about that. Jared and Peter, awesome stuff. You'll be getting email by the end of the day with the information on how to get those all set up. And for all the rest of you guys, come back next week. We'll be doing some more giveaways. We're going to have another fantastic guest and another great show. I look forward to seeing you guys then. And thanks again for joining us today on the Trader Bacon Show.
Welcome to the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday trading